Alright folks, Dear Evan Hansen dropped recently. Folks have a lot to say about this one, including me. Let's talk about it. I want to start out by saying that it's important to note that I really had no basis, no foundation going in. Of course, I knew the play. I'd heard good things, but I've never seen it, and I never heard the music. Why do I have an AirPod in? What? Sorry. Anyway, never knew the play, never really heard the songs. So the movie was really my only experience with the Dear Evan Hansen material. Just wanted to preface with that. And then I will also say that I have some stuff to say about the film, but most of this review is going to actually be about the criticism surrounding this film, which I have a lot to say about. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned, because I've got a few bones to pick with a lot of the major criticism surrounding this film. Let's get into it. My first issue with the film is that everybody had made their mind up going into it. Nobody wanted to like this film. You're lying to me if you tell me otherwise, because I saw it everywhere. I saw it in the comments of every post I ever saw on TikTok, on Instagram, wherever, on Twitter. Anybody talking about it, and you just create these echo chambers of people talking about how bad it will be, how bad they expect it to be. And obviously, at that point, you're a part of this mindset that everyone has adopted in which nobody will like it. Now, I'm not saying that's the case with everyone who disliked it. I'm not even saying that's the case for most people who disliked it. But I am saying it most certainly contributed to the perception that many people had surrounding this film. Whether it was the Ben Platt commentary on how old he looked, which I'll get into. But it's just so disappointing to see a film dead upon release. It doesn't matter if anyone saw it. The perception was already negative. It was always going to be. The film was doomed to fail. Ben Platt is not too old for this film, okay? Again, I'm not the first to say it. He's 27, okay? It's been done before by many an actor. And as a current senior in high school, I can tell you that he looks fine. He looks normal. He looks like someone you would see in high school. Is he a high schooler? No, obviously not. I mean, you could cast a high schooler, but I think he did fine. He's the original Ben Platt. Is it from nepotism? Yes. Did he still do an excellent job? Yes. So why does it matter, for God's sake? He got the opportunity and he took it. You would do the same. I mean, for God's sake, he's just a great actor. And I'm glad that he got to perform here. And I don't understand why everyone's hanging on this one thing. I see a lot of criticism just revolving around this one thing. And there's some funny jokes, some funny memes, whatever, that I can happily get a part of, like the crying face one, whatever. It's funny. But as a legitimate criticism, it hardly holds up in my opinion. Alright, and this is one that really bothers me. And it's the criticism that Evan Hansen is a bad person. That's the point. The point is that Evan Hansen is not a good person. Actually, the point is that nobody is a good person. Nobody is a bad person. That's the main point of the film. Okay? You get characters who you think are good throughout, or who you think are bad. You get impressions of them. Okay? Alana is a character who I think most people watching the film would consider to be good for the longest amount of time, just because, she's a really stand-up person, taking a lot of causes on at once. And then there's this one moment where Evan Hansen opens up to her, and she uses that against him for her own goals. You have Evan's mother, who of course adores him, of course loves him, does everything in her power to help him and her out, and yet, out of jealousy presumably, she denies him a major opportunity that he could have. Okay? Even the main guy, what's his name? Connor. Connor is even revealed to be, his own family. Some of his own family just think he's an awful person. And yet, whether it be through the lies, they come to realize that maybe he's not so bad. And that's the point. Whether you think someone's bad, whether you think someone's good, whether you think their actions are good or bad, everyone is complicated. Every single person, including Evan Hansen, including you, including me. You don't have to like him. But you have to understand that, because that's the premise of the film. That's the point. And then one last thing, one last complaint, and this one I'm just going to touch on lightly, because I'm no expert, of course, and there are people probably more qualified than me to speak on this issue. But I've noticed, any film having to do with any mental illness of any kind, or dealing with suicide. Obviously heavy topics, okay? I would expect, as anyone should, that these topics be treated with a level of grace. And I think that Dear Evan Hansen did it fine. I saw no problems with how they handled mental illness. I thought they actually maybe even did a good job. I think they handled it with taste, in showing everyone, bringing awareness to the fact that you're not alone. Nobody is alone, okay? We all have something we're dealing with. It doesn't matter how you deal with it. It doesn't matter what you're dealing with. Your experiences are not diminished because we all share in these experiences. Everyone shares in these experiences. It's part of being a person. I mean, I can't see a way in which it could have been handled better. Maybe I can be directed to a better example of how mental illness is held in films, but when I see this complaint surrounding every film focused on mental illness or suicide, or media surrounding it, using it as exploitative is the word I hear, it makes me think that people just don't want to depict it in media, which of course I would highly disagree with, because if you don't show it, then how can people expect to talk about it, to open up about it, to be real about it? You need to have the awareness in the first place, and a great way of doing that is through media. Obviously, you have the, there's drama in the film. That's what films are for, okay? I don't know if that's the complaint particularly, but I would hardly call it exploitative, and I would say even that it was handled well. And folks, that's really all I have to say about the criticism surrounding it. Funnily enough, I didn't even like the movie, okay? But I don't think, again, the criticisms that I listed above, I don't think are necessary to justify why I didn't like the movie. I think there's enough reasons for that on its own. And it just makes me mad that people are saying some of these things, because I just think they're so unfounded and based on a level of bias that people had already conceived of before the film was even close to coming out, that is just now carrying over into their thoughts about the film. Really, my main complaint is that the film is so meandering. I mean, there were a few moments that were good, a few songs that were good, nothing great if I'm being honest even, but I never had a great time in this film, and a lot of it I was just waiting for it to be over so I could move on with my life and not watch this musical again. Some sweetheart, heart within the film, not sweetheart, I should have spaced those words up a little more. A film I unfortunately didn't enjoy, but there was still enough it's not bad. I wouldn't say it's not made poorly, so I think I'm going to give it a C, just because, again, I don't think I will watch this again. There's nothing really compelling me to watch it again, but I say maybe I got enough out of it to not put it any lower, so a C for Dear Evan Hansen. Alright folks, that's my review of Dear Evan Hansen, and really more a review of the complaints surrounding it. But folks, let me know what you thought. If you disagree with my criticism about Dear Evan Hansen, please let me know. Then it will be criticism about criticism of Dear Evan Hansen. And if I leave a comment back to you, it'll be criticism about criticism of Dear Evan Hansen. And then if you reply to me, no, that's enough. Alright folks, I've been EPC Reviews. You have been amazing. Dear you. No, that's not how it works. Dear Ethan Dubofsky. I should have started the review that way. That would have been genius. Anyway folks, sincerely.